Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by Jensen of Cloud9 after their win over Impulse. A much cleaner win coming into today. Yesterday, it was a bit messy in the early game. Was that something you guys went back and looked at, or just said, let's not do that again?
We didn't really look at it. I think we all realized our mistakes, and it was just a sloppy early game. But yeah, we learned from it, and we'll just move forward from here.
Moving forward seems like what Cloud9 has done this entire season. Last season there was some hiccups going along. Is there anything you can kind of point out or find that has changed in the team that you feel is kind of the notable reason you're doing better?
I don't know if there's anything specific that I noticed. I think we're just synergizing a lot better now, and we understand each other a lot better, so we just naturally play better together now.
Well, it's definitely showing. Jensen, final question for you before you join the team. I'm sure all the fans are wondering when we can expect to see Body by Jensen in stores.
I'm not really sure about that one. I don't know, but in the near future.
In the near future, you heard it from the man himself. Congratulations on the win. Best of luck to the team in the rest of the season. We're going to throw it to the analyst desk for a little more info on that game.
Thank you very much, Riv. A much quicker win for Cloud9 today. They definitely had a gold lead the entire time, although it was a very brawly game. Before we get into the entirety of it, I want to take a look at that level 1. Something interesting happened in which Cloud9 managed to see Gate and Mash making their way into the jungle for an invade at early levels. But Feng also found himself in the top lane, which is a really interesting situation to see in a blind lane swap level 1. So, Mark, can you kind of illuminate how these level 1s should work?
Right, so Tip went for a blind lane swap, and when you do that, you almost always want to start your jungler and top laner on the far side from the AD carry. And the reason you do this is because you don't know if you're going to get called or not. And if you do get called, then it's pretty easy for your top laner to walk to the lane he's supposed to be in. When you start on the same side, you need a TP down there. And that's the situation that Tip found themselves in because they were trying to do this like wonky level 1 lane swap thing where they're probably going to go into C9's blue jungle after that, but C9 is calling the lane, so you can't do that.
All right, yeah, so they've got their duo lane there to defend. Feng is now on the top side. Ball's getting a free push in the bot lane. He's forced to TP bottom. And then we saw that TP deficit come into play not too long after in the mid lane.
Yeah, it was that big fight where Jensen got caught and then everybody just showed up mid lane. And because they had balls with the TP and the Trundle pillar, they were able to actually pick up multiple kills there. And that's how C9 got back into the game with the double kill on Sneaky. But going back to the lane swap, the reason that they lane swapped it is because they may not know the matchup of the Jhin Morgana against the Sivir that they had. So when you have that, you need to 5-man, push through, get vision inside of that topside jungle so it's not a blind invade. You have to group as a team and do that. And the reason that we see so many people actually start on the opposite side, like you're saying, is when they get invaded because it's just like, okay, you're two people are doing like Gromp, right? They get invaded by the AD carry and support. Well, if that happens, then you just walk to the other side of the map. Whereas what happened here, just like you said, is that they have to blow the TP. And that's why we see the lane swaps go that way, is because you want to hold on to that summoner spell. Otherwise, you're in this situation where it's going to be a big problem later on.
All right, a bit of a stumble there for Tip then in the early game. They did pick up that early kill onto Jensen in the mid lane with a good dive. However, not enough as the 2 return kills came in about a minute or 2 later in the mid lane. But that kind of set the tone. That TP in by balls and that double kill for Sneaky kind of set the tone for the game. It was a very brawly game. It wasn't necessarily set up fights around objectives. It wasn't both teams meeting and saying, okay, you know, position for a fight and then go. It was High getting caught out, somebody out of position, a pick being made, but then all 5 members end up in the same area, and it's just these giant 5v5 brawls. And I think that's where we kind of eventually saw the difference between these two teams. We saw that skill gap.
Right, I mean, there was that one that was turned to a 5v5 bot lane. Rush runs all the way from Wolves down to bot lane to meet that fight, and C9 wins it 3 for 2. And it wasn't a setup fight. It wasn't like C9 actually had an advantage. It starts with Morgana getting caught high, but they win it anyways just because they're better players individually and kind of work together as a team fighting team.
Right, on top of being better players, I mean, part of it could be attributed to the fact that these players have been playing together for a very long time. I mean, Jensen, the newest addition, but the rest of them, they've been around playing with each other, so that communication in game is very... Actually, I take that back. Rush and Jensen, newest additions, but the other 3 playing for a very long time. It was very clear that in their communication, they were able to rotate as they needed. They understood the limits of their champions in that brawling capacity. And when the gold fell on the right people like Sneaky, they were able to run away with the game.
Yeah, and I like that they were able to actually get that double kill onto Sneaky, because then he's just able to amount an even bigger gold lead. We saw in the mid lane, and we're talking about individual skill here, Jensen, despite getting ganked twice, dying once in the early game, still has a CS advantage. And I just think that C9 is not just the draft, it's not just the individual players, it's everything together because they're very cohesive in what they're able to do. And when they have those standout moments where a player is excelling, they're able to look at that, say, okay, now Jensen's a big part of this game. Let's focus around him, let's back him up, and let's close the game out.
Well, another solid win for Cloud9, keeping them in the running for that first round bye in the playoffs. Stick around because when we come back, Energy Esports will battle Liquid for a shot at the playoffs in our match of the week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I'm a cowboy.
You know I have never lost as Morgana?
Same.
It lands, it's still gonna root him. Oh, the cleanse dodge, but he's still gonna go down. Yes, he will. First blood. It's C9 collapsing faster. Corrupting potion ticking down, and a double kill for Sneaky. Jensen takes him down, and now explosive cast knocks him into the root, into the turret. He ults into turret range himself, and Fang goes down. A double kill for Jensen. Gets rooted again. High doing the work onto the Elise. Rush goes down. That's a 2 for 0. Just kidding. 2 for 1. Jensen says no, thank you. We'd like 1 on the scoreboard.
We got one, we got one. I'm saving you, Jensen! Careful. Nice.
Keep going. We can do better.
Let's go.
And that will be the game. Sub 30 minutes. Cloud9 staying in control of second place.